All right, welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Trace Gerard. Let's talk about whether or not Saquon Barkley makes sense to come to New Orleans. There's a report that came out earlier today. We're filming this on Wednesday, April 12th, not August, excuse me. There was a report that came in on Wednesday. Saquon Barkley is not signing the franchise tag, which means no contract equals no offseason programs. So we need to get into that, but before we do, I need you guys to hit the subscribe button. Our Falcons channel, recently, on a single video, they picked up 48 subscribers. That's their record. Can we please beat that? Can we please get at least 49 subs? 50 because it's a good number. Beat the Falcons by hitting the subscribe button. Lock us in, Saints news, rumors, updates, all sorts of fun content, interactive content. We take pride in being informative and entertaining. Lock us in for Saints content by Saints fans, for Saints fans. All right, so let's take a look at what the running back depth chart could look like. Alvin Kamara, your running back one. He is facing 4 to 6 games, which is why I'm going to be talking about Saquon. Saquon Barkley is your running back 2. Jamal Williams bumps back to running back 3. Doesn't mean he's not getting touches, but he's bumping back to running back 3. Then Eno Benjamin and Derek Gore move down the depth chart a little bit. Adam Prentice stays your fullback. But let's see what Saquon Barkley was able to do in 2022 during the regular season. He played 16 games, 295 carries, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4.4 yards per carry, and then he also had some good receiving numbers. It was 57 receptions, for 338 receiving yards. And I like Saquon, but I don't know if I like him for the price that you would have to pay him for. Christian McCaffrey is going to be your highest paid running back this year at $16 million. Alvin Kamara is the second highest paid running back per year at $15 million. So do you really want to have 2 of the top 10 highest paid running backs in one locker room, especially when running back is a position that I believe, I wouldn't say is expendable, but I would say you could get away with not investing a ton of money in. Because here's the thing. Saquon is a talented player, but do you really want to pay him that much? You would have to trade for him, and he's going to be looking for an extension. He's going to be looking for more money. I would just rather address running back in the NFL draft, and I don't think that a lot of people are going to disagree with me. And I'm not saying that Saquon isn't a talented cat. He definitely is a guy who can change games. He can turn up the field, and he can affect and change the entire outcome of how the game is going on. That being said, I just don't know if I would do it if I'm the New Orleans Saints. But you tell me, Who Dat Nation. I'm not in charge here. I'm just the guy who's talking about it on YouTube. Should the Saints go and trade for Saquon Barkley? Excuse the sign and trade thing. It's a typo. It happens, unfortunately. But should the Saints go and trade for Saquon Barkley? Type T for trade, not S for sign. Type T for trade or type P for pass. You tell me. But in terms of running backs that the Saints could go and get, if you didn't want to go and trade for Saquon, you could go get Bijan Robinson out of Texas, Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama, Devon Achane, the running back out of Texas A&M, my favorite draft target this year, Tyjae Spears of the Tulane Green Waves, and then Deuce Vaughn, the Kansas State Wildcat, all solid options. But I cooked up this graphic, and I think it's so dang fresh. This is my dream running back trio. You get Alvin Kamara, you get Jamal Williams, and you get Tyjae Spears. I mean, look at the carries, look at the yards, look at the touchdowns. Kamara, he's a running back 1, and he had the least amount of touchdowns. Obviously, it was a bad year for him. There was a lot of issues. There was a lot of things that were just kind of all over the place. But, I mean, I'm looking at this, doing some napkin math, like bar napkin math, like 3,000 plus yards, almost 40 touchdowns. I mean, this would be elite. This would be incredible, and I would love to see the Saints go and draft Tyjae Spears. This is why this is my dream running back trio. I think this would be a very lethal running back, 3-headed monster that you get the boom, the zoom, and the doom. I came up with that on the dome, so, tell me if that's pretty lit. So also, Who Dat Nation, we do have the best NFL draft coverage available for you on YouTube with the link below at youtube.com/chatnfl. If you guys subscribe, you will get not only Saints draft coverage, but draft coverage for all 32 teams, and then draft coverage for just all of the draft in general. News, rumors, mock drafts, trade targets, draft targets, trade ideas, all sorts of awesome content that's interactive and all about the NFL draft. And there's even going to be content after the NFL draft. So subscribe, link down below, and it's also going to be in the comment section and in the description of this video. So let's discuss the linebacker draft targets that I had mentioned earlier in the live show. If you're watching this as a part of the live show, thank you and shout out to you guys. However, let's discuss it because linebacker, in my opinion, is an underrated draft need for the Saints this offseason. So let's take a look at the depth chart. Pete Werner, Demario Davis, good and good. Demario's getting a little bit older. You saw the production dip a little bit. Pete Werner, he's great when he's healthy, but the best ability is availability, and he just doesn't play that much. He gets hurt every year. Zach Vaughn, it's Zach Vaughn. Andrew Dowell, you brought him back. DeMarco Jackson, the point being, you got to find somebody to be a successor for Demario Davis. You got to find somebody in case Pete Werner gets hurt or can't play. And you also, it makes too much sense to not go and prioritize getting a linebacker. So I'm going to talk about 3 draft targets that you could go and get in either early, middle, or later rounds in the draft. First one being Drew Sanders, the linebacker out of Arkansas. I'm a big fan of this guy. I really like what he was able to do for my Razorbacks. I am a Razorback alum, so this is a little bit of a biased pick, but he is a game wrecker. He flashed as a blitzer at off-ball linebacker. He was an Alabama transfer, came into Fayetteville, Arkansas, to help out the Razorbacks on Sam Pittman's defense. He did fine in coverage, but he definitely could use a little bit of work. He had a missed tackling issue, which I will say was bad. He had 22 missed tackles in 2022. He does have a lot of upside, though, but he's still raw. And I think that this is a guy that would be perfect to shadow Demario Davis, to play alongside Pete Werner. And if Pete Werner gets hurt, I feel like you could plug him in and get good production, get good talent, and get good usage out of him. 103 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 3.5 forced fumbles for the Razorbacks. 6'5", 235 pounds. He's got 32-inch arms. I think that Drew Sanders is a guy the Saints should go and look at. So hit the thumbs up icon if you are excited for the 2023 NFL Draft. We are only a couple weeks away. It's going to be here before you know it. So hit the thumbs up icon if you are excited to see who the Saints are going to draft in the NFL Draft, or this year's NFL Draft, excuse me. So let's talk about the second linebacker target, Jack Cambell out of Iowa. He's a quality player, similar to Drew Sanders. I think he could be a pretty big difference maker for the Saints. He is a pretty good run. He's a really good run stopper, but he's not much of a coverage linebacker, and he tested really, really well. And in terms of what he was able to do for the Hawkeyes, he was able to get a lot of production. I was a big fan of what Cambell is able to do, and I want to see what he can do at the next level because of his combine results. He tested off the charts. He had production that was good, but the combine results were great, and that's my whole point about this. 40-yard dash, he was a 4.65. 10-yard split, 1.59 seconds. Vertical jump, 37.5 inches. Broad jump, 10 foot 8 inches. And then he's standing at 6'5", just under 250 pounds, 31-inch arms. He's a big dude, and I think that he could be an interesting piece to the Saints defense. And if you wanted to address it a little bit later in the draft, I've talked about this prospect before, but I'm going to talk about him again because I don't think he gets enough love. Ivan Pace Jr., the Cincinnati Bearcat. And I want to encourage you to go and look at what this guy's tape is. It is insane. He is very strong. He's tough. He seeks out contact, and the dude is a baller. And that's something that I love in my linebackers and in my defensive players. I want somebody who's going to get a little dirty. I want somebody who's going to get in there, make some contact, and cause havoc. I don't want somebody who's going to play soft. I want somebody who's going to go and eat and take what's theirs. He's got a powerful lower body and remarkable instincts. And his feet and athleticism to slip block seamlessly and needed. And in terms of what he was able to do for the Bearcats last year, 2022 stats are 136 tackles, 9 sacks, 20.5 tackles for loss, 4 pass breakups. The Bearcats did play the Razorbacks earlier in the season. I believe it was in week 1 this past year. And Ivan Pace was causing nothing but issues for the Razorback offense and KJ Jefferson. So, Who Dat Nation, we talked about 3 guys that I would actually like all 3 of them. I wouldn't really care which one of the 3 I like the most. I kind of think, I take it back. I think I like Drew Sanders and Ivan Pace the most. Jack Campbell, he would be a good pick, but, in terms of going early, I think Drew Sanders is better value. I think Ivan Pace is good, has great value later in the draft. But this show is not about me. It's all about you, Who Dat Nation. So let me know. Y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time.